Much of what we know about ancient cultures today comes from the images and written records left behind. In some cases, artifacts can give us clues about the people who built these ancient monuments, but in other instances, there are more questions than answers. Archaeologists and historians have plenty of theories about the ruins in this video, but they remain exactly that, theories. Let's take a look at 15 mysterious buildings built by cultures we still don't understand. Number 15. Tarxien Temples. The Tarxien temples sit tucked into a neighborhood in Paola, just a short drive from Valletta, which is the capital of Malta. It is not as recognized as the nearby Hypogeum or the Gigantija temples, but the Tarxien site holds its own. It's the most architecturally elaborate of all Malta's prehistoric temple sites. There are 3 temples at Tarxien, each from a different period. The oldest dates to 3250 BC. What's still debated is the beliefs of the people who built them. Were they artists, as suggested by the detailed animal carvings, or did they worship a sun deity? Some think the temples were tied to a fertility goddess, evident in the many corpulent figurines discovered at the site. In 1913, a farmer accidentally uncovered the complex. Since then, archaeologists have preserved the area as much as possible. However, it still remains open to the elements. A proposed shelter and flood barrier have been discussed for years, but for now, the temples remain exposed beneath the blue sky and blazing Mediterranean sun. Number 14. Mount Ararat. This snow-capped titan in eastern Turkey has inspired ancient myths, high-stakes treasure hunts, and some of the wildest claims in archaeological history. Why? Well, because some folks truly believe Noah's Ark crash-landed right on it. In the Bible, when the flood went global, Noah and his floating zoo survived the chaos in a wooden barge built with divine blueprints. After 40 days and 40 nights, the waters dropped, and the Ark supposedly touched down on Ararat. That might sound like bedtime story stuff, but things took a dramatic turn in 1959 when a Turkish pilot flying over the region noticed something weird. Below him was a pointed, boat-shaped impression embedded into the rocky earth. It was over 500 feet long, nearly matching the biblical measurement of 300 cubits. That's almost an exact match. The site is now called the Durapunner Formation, and it's been at the heart of a tug-of-war between believers and scientists ever since. Some explorers claim to find petrified wood, metal fasteners, and even fossilized animal poop. Most archaeologists say it's just natural erosion, not divine design. But what do you say? Number 13. White Temple of Uruk. A long way from the peaceful shires that shelter Stonehenge stands a structure that is even more ancient. Resting at the summit of the oldest surviving ziggurat in what is now Uruk is the White Temple. The White Temple is less renowned than the complexes atop the ziggurat at Uruk. It measures just 60 feet in length, and its name derives from the whitewashed mud brick walls whose sides still stand watch over the sands of the long-vanished Sumerian Empire. The mystery about this ancient temple is that no one knows what its original name was, as the early history of the site is excruciatingly difficult to reconstruct. Could this structure conceal within it secrets tied to one of the world's earliest organized religions? What makes the White Temple particularly captivating is its association with Anu, who was the most ancient deity of the Sumerian pantheon and a central figure in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's also compelling for what it might have once held, including the work of vase, which is a 5,000-year-old artifact once kept in the Iraqi Museum before being looted in 2003. It was eventually recovered in several pieces. Number 12. Chand Baori, the inverted temple of water and wonder. Welcome to Chand Baori, where geometry meets mystery and water becomes sacred art. Hidden in the Indian village of Abaneri, this 1,200-year-old stepwell isn't just deep, it's a visual illusion carved in reverse. From above, it resembles an ancient ziggurat turned inside out. Descend thousands of precise stone steps, and you're surrounded by symmetry. Every angle, every stair is so accurately arranged, it's like walking through a mathematician's meditation maze. Built by King Chand of the Nekumba dynasty, Chand Baori was designed to solve one of India's oldest problems, water storage in a dry climate. But this place didn't just collect water, it honored it. In Rajasthan's brutal heat, Chand Baori could keep water cool year-round, turning necessity into architectural grace. Yet it's more than just a reservoir. The repeating geometry, serene pool, and quiet descent have led scholars to believe it was also a sacred site, but as we know, the truth no one truly knows. Number 11. Abuna Yemata Guh, the church in the sky that heaven had to approve. If Indiana Jones built a cathedral, it would resemble Abuna Yemata Guh. Carved into a vertical cliff in Ethiopia's remote Tigray region, this church doesn't just test belief, it tests balance. To reach it, you hike narrow ledges, scale sheer rock, and inch along a 300-foot drop without rails. It's often called the most unreachable church on earth. There are no ropes or ladders, just barefoot faith and bold steps. Once inside, the climb is rewarded with 15th century frescoes painted across the ceiling and walls, scenes of saints and scripture in rich, unfaded color. These weren't hidden, they were placed deliberately, high above the world. Built in the 5th century, Abuna Yemata was founded by one of Ethiopia's 9 saints who arrived from the Roman world, fleeing persecution. To protect their faith, they carved sanctuaries where only the devoted could follow. Dozens remain in Tigray, still active, still elevated, still untouched. These mountain churches didn't retreat from danger, they rose above it. Number 10. The Desert Giant. The Giant of Tarapacá is a colossal geoglyph carved into a Chilean hillside. This figure stretches nearly 400 feet long, and it isn't just big, it's the largest human-like geoglyph on the planet. So who made this sandy guy? Nobody knows for sure. Most experts credit the Aymara and other pre-Columbian cultures, but the geoglyph's exact purpose is still up for grabs. Some say he's a warrior. Others believe those rays coming from his head mean he's a god. Either way, he's been watching the desert for 1,000 years. One idea says he was an ancient GPS guiding llama caravans across trade routes. Another thinks he was a spiritual sign marking a sacred highway to the gods. Either way, the giant wasn't alone. Keep heading north, and the desert reveals more secrets, the Chiza geoglyphs. Think of them as the giant's artistic cousins, etched human shapes, animals, and cryptic patterns spread across the dust like ancient graffiti, all crafted by cultures that lived without maps or satellites, but knew how to turn the land into a billboard for the divine. Number 9. Aramu Muru, the portal in the rock that opens with gold. Deep in the Andean highlands of southern Peru is a stone formation that looks like the opening scene of a forgotten myth. Locals call it the Aramu Muru portal, but it isn't a door you enter, it's carved directly into flat rock and feels anything but ordinary. At first glance, it's a blank wall with a T-shaped recess in the center, no chamber or tunnel, but the legends wrapped around it could fill volumes. The most famous story speaks of an Inca priest fleeing as the Spanish conquest closed in. With him, he carried a golden disc said to be gifted by the gods. Reaching Aramu Muru, he inserted the disc into the slot and the rock shimmered, opened and swallowed him whole. He vanished. Today, spiritual seekers still visit the site. Some report energy. Others claim visions. Scholars believe it was a pre-Inca ritual spot, perhaps used for ceremonies or cosmic rites. But the purpose of the carving is still unknown. Number 8. Sechin Bajo Plaza. Everyone's heard of the Inca Empire and its mountaintop masterpiece Machu Picchu, but few know about the much older civilizations that once thrived in Peru. Long before the Inca rose, ancient groups were building monumental structures like Sechin Bajo. Located 230 miles north of modern Lima, the site includes a circular plaza measuring 14 meters wide. Its adobe walls display friezes, including a warrior holding a knife in one hand and possibly a head or shield in the other. While some dates are debated, German and Peruvian archaeologists verified in 2008 that the plaza was built around 3500 BC, making it the oldest known architectural complex in the Western Hemisphere. Even more intriguing, researchers mention deeper layers, potentially older plazas, buried beneath the current site. But digging further will take time. Until new funding arrives, the team has decided to rebury parts of the plaza to protect it from erosion, looters, and time. The discoveries so far have only scratched the surface. Number 6. Monte dest Acadi. If you asked most people to name an ancient pyramid, few would point to Sardinia's northwest coast. But that's where Monte d'Acadi stands, a 6,000-year-old structure whose original purpose is uncertain, with foundations dating between 4,000 to 3,650 BC. This site predates Stonehenge and even Egypt's earliest pyramids by over a millennium. Its name means stone mount and consists of a ramp stretching over 130 feet, leading to a step pyramid originally rising 25 feet. Nearby, a 14.6-foot upright menhir and a limestone sphere nearly 15 feet around add to the site's enigmatic character. Lonely Planet described it as unlike anything else in the Mediterranean, and for a site so extraordinary, it sees shockingly few visitors. Some have described Monte d'Acadi as an altar, a ziggurat, a temple, or a pyramid. Well, no theory is confirmed. At its heart lies a red-stained chamber, its walls coated with ochre. Despite decades of examination, what happened on this strange platform remains an open question. Number 6. Lalibela churches. If faith could chisel mountains, Ethiopia's Lalibela churches would be the result. Imagine a city of cathedrals, not built from stone, but carved into it. Straight down, no bricks, no mortar, just tools, patience, and devotion. Commissioned by King Lalibela in the 12th century, this stone labyrinth was meant to become a new Jerusalem after the original fell during the Crusades. According to legend, the king was guided by angels in a dream. The result? 11 churches carved entirely from solid volcanic rock, builders cut downward, shaping walls, doorways, domes, and altars out of one seamless mass. But it wasn't just engineering, it was spiritual design. The layout mirrors Jerusalem's sacred geography. There are trenches, tunnels, and processional paths meant for pilgrims. Among them, Bet Georgis St. George's Church, shaped like a perfect cross, lies hidden until seen from above. These churches weren't meant to be seen, they were meant to be experienced, still active, still sacred, and still impossible to forget. Number 5. Palpa Geoglyphs. Just when you think Peru ran out of ancient plot twists, the Palpa Geoglyphs arrive like a hillside encore. Unlike the Nazca lines, these are carved across sloping ridges, perfectly visible from surrounding cliffs. You don't need flights to see them. Crafted mostly by the Paracas and Topara cultures long before the Nazca etched the flats, these figures bring a different energy, bolder outlines, expressive faces, and more narrative flair. One set steals attention: the family. They stare with wide eyes and dramatic stances. Are they dancing? Praying? Posing in the wind? No one knows. Then there's the wild one, the orca. But this isn't just any killer whale, it has human arms. In Andean mythology, orcas were powerful, godlike beings. This hybrid might have been a symbol of chaos or protection. Unlike the Nazca lines, these were meant to be seen locally, possibly for rituals, clan identity, or landmarkers. They weren't shouting to the sky. They were speaking to their own, through stone slope and strange sea gods with arms. Number 4. Tumulus of Bougon. The Tumulus of Bougon is one of the world's few structures that would have been ancient even when Stonehenge was young. A tumulus is a man-made mound, usually raised over burial sites, and Bougon, located in France's Deux-Sèvres near the Atlantic, contains no fewer than 6. The largest measures 240 feet, and the mounds vary in layout. Some are circular, others rectangular or trapezoidal. Were these variations simply aesthetic, or were they guided by spiritual or cosmological principles? That remains completely unknown. This site is over 7,000 years old and holds more than just stones. One male skull uncovered here shows clear signs of trepanning, the ancient act of drilling into the skull, likely to treat mental or neurological conditions. Did he survive the procedure, or was he quickly laid to rest at Bougon? It's hard to say. While the act seems brutal now, it reveals just how deeply ancient peoples engaged with healing practices and how long the human search for cures has endured. Number 3. Karahan Tepe. If Göbekli Tepe is the headline act, Karahan Tepe is the older twin waiting for its full spotlight. Just miles away, and even older, this site isn't just related, it's another prehistoric monument reshaping our idea of when belief began. Karahan Tepe was built by hunter-gatherers with no farming, pottery, or written instructions, yet the site features massive T-shaped columns, carved heads, and stone designs, so refined they suggest real planning and meaning. Some pillars sit in pits. Others line up in rooms that could have been sanctuaries. One headless statue and a deep shaft surrounded by pillars have sparked wild theories: ceremonial chamber, underworld portal, sacred well. Even more surprisingly, it might predate Göbekli Tepe by centuries. That means this isn't just a sister site, it may be the origin point of a spiritual explosion. Carvings of animals and strange symbols repeat across both sites, hinting at a shared belief system before farming even existed. These people didn't build villages first, they built meaning, which we still don't know. Number 2. West Kennet Long Barrow. 7 centuries before Stonehenge began taking shape, West Kennet Long Barrow was already complete. Just 15 miles away from that famous stone circle, this structure was built around 3650 BC and used for nearly 1,000 years. A long barrow was meant to house the dead, usually the elite. This one is among the best preserved in Britain. It dominates the surrounding landscape, stretching over 100 meters in length and standing tall enough to walk inside. Inside, the remains of 50 individuals were placed over centuries. Why the site was eventually abandoned remains unclear. Did people forget it? Or did changing beliefs push them to seal it? Some point to the construction of Avberry, a nearby stone circle raised around the same time the barrow fell out of use. Its exact purpose remains uncertain. Was it spiritual, political, both? No writing was left behind. Just the stones, the bones, and the questions. But one thing's certain, it stood long before history had a name. Alright guys, now let's end this with number 1. Moai. If statues could talk, the Moai of Easter Island would have centuries of history to spill. These towering stone figures look like they're judging your choices, and honestly, with those intense stares, they probably are. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is one of the most isolated inhabited places on Earth, and it's home to nearly 900 of these stone monoliths. Each Moai stands tall with a massive head, deep-set eyes, and a signature frown that says, "You better behave." Most face inland, as if guarding their communities from bad vibes or coastal threats. Some even wear pukao, massive red stone hats that scream ancient elite fashion. Experts think these symbolized rank because even in stone, status mattered. Roughly half of all Moai still lie around Raraku, the volcanic quarry that doubled as the island's carving studio. Dozens remain half-finished, partially buried, or barely outlined in stone, like the production suddenly stopped. Theories point to resource collapse, deforestation, famine, or internal conflict. Still, the Moai were somehow moved miles over rugged terrain using ropes, logs, and brute coordination. Some believe they were even walked upright by rocking side to side. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next one.